Hi, and welcome to the Haley Show. I'm your host, Haley James Scott. Today we'll be interviewing Anne Frank. Her first book, The Diary of Anne Frank, has just been released to all stores. After going into hiding for 2 years and surviving the concentration camps, she's still strong and somehow hopeful. Please welcome Anne Frank.
Hey Haley, thanks for having me. This is the first time I've ever talked about my experiences during the Holocaust, so I'm kind of nervous. Thanks.
So, let's get started. What was the first thing you grabbed when you heard you were going into hiding?
Oh, that's easy, Haley. My diary, of course. That's where I hid all my secrets and ambitions. It's how I kept my sanity. Without it, I would have gone crazy.
I would go crazy without my job. It occupies me my free time, and I get free makeup. I'm sponsored by Maybelline. So, how did you keep yourself together in those conditions? Did you have a beauty routine of some sort?
Of course I did. I was 13. Looks were everything. I wanted to be pretty like my older sister, Margot. I even had a checklist on what made you pretty. I would pin my hair back and clean my face, always keeping the rules of being pretty in the back of my mind. I wanted to be like the movie stars on my walls. So technically, I just wanted to be a woman with makeup.
So this might be a touchy subject, but was it hard becoming a woman in such a chaotic time and place?
Oh, well, nothing's really uncomfortable for me anymore. I literally published my diary. Unlike most girls, I was more excited than nervous for it to happen. I wanted to go through puberty and become a woman.
It's hard for most girls getting their first period without being in such a tight and awkward living situation. So, in your opinion, was it harder getting your first period where and when you got it?
Well, I don't really have anything to compare it to, but I believe that it's the same for everyone because all girls are just filled with emotions of confusion and fear. So I don't think the place really changes or affects the emotions that actually occur.
So insightful. You're truly an inspiration to all young girls out there. I got mine during school and everyone laughed at me. I had to go to counseling for months. I wish I had a role model like you when I was younger. So who would you say kept the peace in the secret annex or acted as a therapist in your case?
I think it would have been my dad. He made sure everyone was making the best out of the situation. He always put others before himself. He always made sure everyone was fed before he ate, and he even gave the Van Dans their own private room while he took the kitchen.
So kind. I read in your book that Mr. Van Dam wasn't the most appreciative guy, though. Is that fair to say?
I guess you could say that. It's just never seemed to be enough for him. He always needed more, even resorted to stealing food when he thought everyone was asleep.
In your book, that seemed to be the only thing that set your mom off, really. Is that true, or did you withhold other fights in your diary?
There were a few arguments between my mom and I, but this was the first fight that she didn't keep her cool with someone else.
Kind of off topic, how did you adapt to sharing a room with Mr. Dussel?
Oh, don't get me started. He claimed he was good with kids, but let me tell you, it was the complete opposite. He always needed the room to himself, never let me write in my diary. He was not tolerant of me at all. Well, anyone for that matter.
Why wasn't he tolerant of you? Were you sassy?
I was a teenage girl. Of course I was sassy.
I'm not a teenage girl, and I'm still sassy. At least that's what my husband Nathan tells me. So I heard you had a little romance yourself in the annex with your housemate Peter. How was that first kiss you wrote so fondly about?
I forgot I wrote about that. For 1 second, it felt like everything froze, and Peter and I were the only people on Earth. There was no war, there were no Nazis or overbearing parents. It was just me and Peter. Everything else was irrelevant. In that moment, I fell in love with him, and I still haven't fallen out.
Aw, that's so cute and romantic.
You know.
Wait, so are you guys still together? You lasted through the whole war?
Yes, and we're stronger than ever. He's even here today, supporting me.
Bring him out here. Let's see the romance for ourselves.
I guess. Peter, dear, will you come out here, please?
Whooshy, is that you?
Peter, come on, we don't have all day.
Peter, I see you've met my cat. Please come sit down to your lovely girlfriend. So when did you guys find time to create a romance in the annex, especially with your parents eagerly watching?
Well, we set up cute dates in his room. And we just talked for hours and somehow connected to love each other.
That's amazing that you two could just find love in such an awful time. So, were there any bumps in the married couples' relationships in the annex?
I've got this one, babe. My mother was such a flirt with Mr. Frank, and my parents fought so much.
Very true. All they did was fight about the stupid fur coat. Mr. Van Daan wanted to sell it for cigarettes and food, but Mrs. Van Daan refused.
Oh, how was the food in the annex? I'm kind of a foodie.
It started off good, but the rations got smaller and we mostly just ate beans. But we weren't starving, so it was the best situation I could think we could have asked for.
For my last question, I'm going to ask the question that everyone is dying to know. Was Margot ever jealous of your relationship with Peter, or was she truly the perfect girl who never involved herself in conflict?
I hate to admit this, but she actually was perfect. The one time I ever felt like I was the perfect child was when I gave out gifts on Hanukkah, and everyone was actually thankful for me and not just annoyed with me.
Honey, I was never annoyed with you. Well, maybe in the beginning I was a little, but now I couldn't imagine life without you.
That's it for this week. Next week, we will be interviewing my husband's brother, Chad Malcolm Murray. See you next week. Bye.
Bloopers.
Cut it out now.
I will. Not cutting it out.
Haley, cut it out.
I will.
Oh, it is.
Cut it out.
Action.
Welcome to the Haley Show. I'm your host, Haley James Scott.
Can I just never stop the music?
Go.
Is it
Go.
what?
Go.
Like my music?
Go.
Please welcome Anne Frank. Hey! Did you start it?
No.
Wait, I think Olivia should just be in the background dancing by herself.
Why are you in a tent?
Because I'm hiding.
Stop! Go.
Go.
Peter, will you come out here?
Lucy, is that you?
Go.
Peter, will you come out here?
Mooshy, is that you?
We don't have all day.
I see you met my cat. Please come sit down next to your girlfriend.
We don't have a bed. We fell in love. We fell in love. That's not how you do it. This is how you do it.
I'm Peter.
How was the food in the annex?
Oh, it was pretty good. I mean, it started off good at first, but then the rations started.
Olivia! Oh my god! Starring Jade as Anne Frank.
Haley as Haley James Scott.
Yeah.
The filmers, Olivia and Hallie. And Kate Elizabeth Staff as Peter, Anne's love interest.
I don't want them to know.